Story number 1. The Midnight Feast. It was a cold, stormy night when Sarah decided to order her favorite meal from her go-to food delivery app. Craving comfort food, she selected a hearty serving of lasagna from a small, family-owned Italian restaurant she had frequented many times before. Little did she know, this delivery would be unlike any other. Sarah placed her order around 10:30 p.m., just before the restaurant closed. She received the usual confirmation text, "Your order will arrive in 45 minutes." She curled up on her couch with a blanket, the howling wind and rain pounding against her windows, trying to distract herself with a TV show. An hour passed, then another. It was now well past midnight, and there was still no sign of her food. Frustrated and hungry, Sarah called the restaurant, but there was no answer. She tried the delivery driver's number provided in the app, but it went straight to voicemail. Feeling uneasy, she checked the app again. The status had not changed, out for delivery. She sighed, resigning herself to the fact that her meal wasn't coming. Just as she was about to head to bed, there was a loud knock on her door. Startled, Sarah hesitated before getting up. She peered through the peephole but saw no one. Cautiously, she opened the door a crack, only to find her food delivery bag placed neatly on the doorstep. Relieved, she grabbed the bag and quickly shut the door against the wind. She noticed something odd as she set the bag on the kitchen counter. The lasagna was there, but it was cold, as if it had been left out for hours. Confused, she decided to microwave it. She opened the container and nearly dropped it in shock. Inside was not just lasagna, but a folded, crumpled piece of paper stained with sauce. With trembling hands, she unfolded the note. Scrawled in hurried, barely legible handwriting were the words, "Don't eat it." Her heart pounded in her chest. She threw the lasagna in the trash, deciding it was best to heed the mysterious warning. Sleep was impossible, her mind racing with fear and questions. Who left the note? What had happened to her food? Why shouldn't she eat it? The next morning, Sarah called the restaurant again. This time, someone answered. She explained what had happened, including the note. There was a long pause before the manager spoke. "Ma'am," he said slowly, "our delivery driver was in a car accident last night. He's in critical condition at the hospital. We never sent your order out." Sarah's blood ran cold. She dropped her phone, the manager's voice fading into the background as the realization hit her. If the restaurant never sent her food, who did? And what could have been so wrong with it that someone risked everything to warn her? From that day forward, Sarah never ordered food delivery again. The mysterious lasagna and the cryptic warning haunted her thoughts, a chilling reminder that sometimes, even the most ordinary events can take a sinister turn. Story number 2. The Empty Street. It was a late Friday night, and James had just finished a long shift at the hospital. Exhausted and starving, he decided to treat himself to a late-night snack. He opened his food delivery app and ordered a burger and fries from his favorite diner, a place known for its delicious food and quick delivery. The estimated delivery time was 30 minutes. James took a quick shower to wash away the day's stress and changed into comfortable clothes, eagerly anticipating his meal. After what felt like an eternity, he checked his phone. The delivery status still showed "out for delivery," and the driver's icon was stuck at the edge of his neighborhood. Frustrated and famished, he decided to call the driver. The phone rang several times before a gravelly voice answered. "Hello? Hi, this is James. I ordered a burger and fries about an hour ago. Are you close by?" James asked. The voice on the other end paused before responding, "Yes, I'm on your street. Just a few more minutes." James thanked the driver and hung up, feeling a bit relieved. He peered out his window, hoping to catch a glimpse of the delivery car, but the street was eerily empty. He shrugged it off, thinking the driver might be taking a different route. Another 15 minutes passed, and still no sign of his food. He called the driver again, but this time, there was no answer. Frustration turned to worry. He checked the app again, and to his surprise, the delivery status was now marked delivered. Confused and annoyed, James went downstairs to check his front porch. There was no food in sight. He stepped outside, the chilly night air prickling his skin. The street was deserted. No cars, no people, just an unsettling silence. He turned to go back inside when he noticed something at the far end of the street, near the intersection. A single, dim streetlight illuminated a figure standing by a parked car. The figure was motionless, staring in James's direction. An uneasy feeling settled in the pit of his stomach, but he decided to approach the figure, thinking it might be the delivery driver. As James walked closer, he realized something was off. The figure was wearing a tattered, old-fashioned uniform, like something out of a 1950s diner. The driver's face was pale and expressionless, eyes vacant and hollow. "Are you the delivery driver?" James asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The figure didn't respond. Instead, it slowly raised a hand, pointing towards the backseat of the car. James's curiosity and hunger battled his growing fear. Against his better judgment, he opened the car door. Inside, he found a greasy, old delivery bag. The smell was rancid, as if the food had been left to rot for days. He pulled back the bag's flap and found a burger and fries, but they were covered in mold and crawling with insects. Horrified, James stumbled back, his mind racing. He turned to confront the driver, but the figure was gone. The street was empty once more, and a deep, unnatural silence hung in the air. James ran back to his house, locking the door behind him. He called the diner, but the number was disconnected. He checked the app again, and his order had vanished, leaving no trace of the transaction. That night, James couldn't sleep. The haunting image of the driver and the decayed food plagued his thoughts. He never ordered from that diner again and deleted the food delivery app from his phone. The following week, he took a different route to work, avoiding that eerily empty street altogether. Years later, James learned from a local historian that a tragic accident had occurred on that very street in the 1950s. A delivery driver from the diner had been killed in a hit-and-run while making his last delivery of the night. Some say his spirit still roams the neighborhood, eternally trying to complete his final delivery. James shuddered at the thought, grateful that he had escaped with only a terrifying memory and a lesson he would never forget. Story number 3. The Unseen Passenger. It was a chilly autumn evening, and Emily was home alone, catching up on her favorite TV series. She hadn't eaten since lunch and decided to order dinner from a popular local sushi restaurant. She placed her order through the app and received a notification that her food would arrive in 40 minutes. 30 minutes later, her phone buzzed with a message from the app, "Your driver is on the way." Excited, Emily kept an eye on the real-time tracking. She watched as the little car icon made its way through the streets of her town, heading towards her house. A few minutes later, she received another notification. "Your driver has arrived." She looked out her window but saw no car in her driveway. Perplexed, she opened her front door and stepped outside, only to be greeted by the cool night air and an empty street. She checked the app again. The status still showed "arrived," and there was a photo of her front door confirming the delivery. But there was no food and no driver in sight. Feeling uneasy, Emily decided to call the driver. After a few rings, a calm, slightly monotone voice answered, "Hello? Hi, this is Emily. I ordered sushi, and the app says it was delivered, but I didn't receive anything," she explained. The driver paused for a moment before responding, "I'm right outside." Emily's heart skipped a beat. She looked around, but there was no one there. "I don't see you. Are you sure you're at the right address?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Yes," the driver replied. "I'm right here." Panic started to set in. Emily hung up and quickly retreated into her house, locking the door behind her. She called the restaurant, hoping they could clarify the situation. The manager answered, and she explained the bizarre encounter. "Ma'am, our driver left over 20 minutes ago. He should be there," the manager said. "He's not, and he's saying he's right outside, but I can't see him," Emily replied, her voice shaking. "I'll try to contact him. Please stay inside and keep your doors locked," the manager advised. Emily thanked him and hung up, her anxiety growing. She paced around her living room, glancing out the window every few minutes. Then, she heard it, a soft, almost imperceptible scratching at her back door. Her blood ran cold. She grabbed a kitchen knife and slowly approached the door, her hands trembling. The scratching continued, faint but persistent. Gathering her courage, she peeked through the window next to the door. In the dim light, She saw the shadowy outline of a figure standing just outside, motionless except for the scratching sound. She backed away, heart pounding. Suddenly, her phone rang, startling her. It was the restaurant manager. Emily, I've been trying to reach the driver, but there's no answer. I'm really sorry about this. I've called the police, and they should be there soon, he said. Thank you, Emily whispered, tears of fear welling in her eyes. Minutes felt like hours as she waited, the scratching at the back door continuing. Finally, the sound of sirens filled the air. She heard the police pull up outside and ran to the front door to let them in. The officers searched the perimeter of the house and found no one. However, they did discover something chilling. Deep scratches on the back door, as if someone had been trying to claw their way in. The police reassured her they would patrol the area and left her with their contact information. Shaken, Emily sat in her living room, trying to process what had happened. Her phone buzzed again, a new message from the delivery app. Hesitant, she opened it. It was from the driver. I'm still here. Terrified, she immediately deleted the app and swore never to use it again. The police never found the driver, and the restaurant had no explanation. Emily never found out who or what had been at her door that night, but she knew one thing for sure. She would never forget the unseen passenger who had tried to deliver something far more sinister than sushi.